Welcome once again to our e-learning program for science, the 3rd grade. I'm your facilitator, SK Isiedu. We're still on strand 5, human and his environment. And then for today, we have our substrand 2, which is all about diseases. Diseases. What then is a disease? Whenever you hear of disease, what does that mean? We say a disease is any state or condition that does not allow some parts of your body to function well. Any state or condition that does not allow some parts of your body, some parts, could be your head, your nose, your teeth, your jaw, your stomach, your leg, any part of the body, any state or condition that does not allow any part of your body to work well or function well is called a disease. Think about that. Whenever your head is not functioning well, whenever there is any problem anywhere in your body, we say you have a disease. Now let's look at some common types of diseases. Common examples of diseases. First of all, we say cholera is a common example of disease. Cholera. Tuberculosis is also an example of disease. Diphtheria is an example of disease. We have diarrhea. Diarrhea is also an example of disease. Then typhoid fever. Typhoid fever is also a disease. We have whooping cough. Whooping cough is an example of disease. We also have flu or cold. Another example of disease. We have many other examples of diseases that we encounter on a daily basis. Diseases are caused by various or different kinds of things. But we will limit ourselves today to what we call skin diseases. Skin diseases. Now let's see, what is a skin disease? Any of these diseases or any of these things that causes you to feel uncomfortable, that affects the skin, is described as a skin disease. So any disease that affects the skin. And you know what? Your skin is an important part of your body. Your skin actually protects all the internal organs and the whole body. You see, your face has a skin cover. Your chest, your abdomen, every part of your body is covered by the skin. So the skin is very, very important. Any disease or anything that affects the skin to make you feel uncomfortable, it can be described as a skin disease. Examples of skin disease. Now let's look at these ones. We have chicken pox, which normally affects you. And rashes is also another example. They look alike. We have measles. We do have what we call eczema. And then ringworm. Let's try and describe a few of these skin diseases and look at how we can prevent them. Rashes. Normally, children are almost affected with this kind of disease, a skin disease called rashes. How does the rashes look like? With rashes, it occurs whenever the weather is hot. You get spots on your skin. Sometimes it is actually swollen. Small spots, it develops gradually and spreads. And then it makes you feel itchy. That is what we call rashes. Rashes can develop at any part of your body, especially places which are not exposed to air. Very well. You might have experienced this kind of skin disease before. You know how you feel. You itch a lot of times, and then you feel very uncomfortable at those places where you have rashes. The next one is the ringworm. Look at a ringworm. It actually develops, as the name implies, in a ring form or in a circular form. They are just like the rashes, but they gradually spread in a circular form, which is actually caused by worms. That is the need for you to always deworm. Take a dewormer. Ringworm normally happens also to anyone, especially whenever you live and then you don't practice a good hygienic lifestyle. Ringworm. The things we eat may be factors. Let's now talk about eczema. Eczema. Eczema, commonly known as a crow, normally changes the surface of the skin. A person suffering from eczema may develop different nature of that area of the skin. It may appear either whitish or it may fade the color of that part of the skin or the body. Eczema is also a critical example of skin disease. We do have other examples like the measles and then the chicken pox and many other examples which are very common to everyone. Eczema is actually a result of not properly cleaning those parts of the body. Anytime you experience eczema or a crow, it means you don't properly clean or expose that part of the body to air. So eczema. We also do have something called the foot rot. Foot rot. Foot rot is also a skin disease. Foot rot, as you all know, when you keep on having your bath regularly, but you fail to clean in between your toes, it's likely that place will not actually have good ventilation, and it's possible that side will get rotten, that area in between your toes. So it's advisable you take your bath very early, and then you try as much as possible to make sure you clean those places well, and then make sure those places are well dried so that you don't experience foot rot. Now, we would like to talk about some few ways of preventing some of these skin diseases and diseases in general before we call it a day. What are some of the ways of preventing any of these skin diseases? One, by taking a regular bath. You need to bath regularly. Regularly take your bath. And when you bath, you need to also clean yourself well. Clean yourself very well to avoid any of these skin diseases. You can take your bath, but after bathing, use your towel to clean behind your ears and armpit and all other parts of the body that must be properly taken care of to avoid any of these skin diseases. Aside cleaning well, you also need to make sure that you live in a well-ventilated place. Ventilation is very important. Ventilation. Whenever you don't have enough air in your room, it is likely you are going to feel hot and develop any of these rashes. So the best way to avoid skin disease in a good skin is to make sure that you live in a well-ventilated place. Make sure your windows are open every morning, and then you allow fresh air to come in to ventilate your rooms. There are other ways of keeping yourself away from skin diseases. Basically, whenever you practice personal hygiene in general, you can avoid skin diseases. So practice personal hygiene. As I said already, You don't need to be in a rush. Spend time to take your bath and then clean yourself well to avoid some of these diseases. And by personal hygiene means you make sure you wash your clothes regularly. Washing your clothes, your undies, your socks, your singlets must be properly washed as a way of keeping yourself well or practicing personal hygiene. You must also avoid sharing items, personal articles. Do you remember this? Yes. We spoke about sharing personal items last time. Avoid sharing personal items. Personal items, examples of personal items. Can you cite one? Yes, your toothbrush. You don't have to share your toothbrush. Even your spoons, your cutlery sets, your towel, shaving stick. Remember, we made mention of all these personal items. Your sponge, you don't need to share any of these because it's possible that an infected person can easily contaminate you with the skin disease. Aside this, whenever you go to the barbering salon, try and ensure that the barber uses a sterilizer. He sterilizes his machines, the shaving machine. Make sure anytime you go into a barbering salon, the barber has a good sterilizer which he turns on and off to make sure that the machines he uses are sterilized. Whenever you sterilize, the germs are actually killed and it is not possible for you to be infected by any skin disease. So make sure you ensure the use of sterilizers. And last but not the least, try as much as possible to avoid people. Don't say he's my friend, he's my brother. Try and avoid someone with a skin disease. So avoid contaminated persons. Anybody who is affected by a skin disease can easily transmit it to you. So try as much as possible to avoid the contaminated person. If the person is infected, don't sleep together. Don't try to share these personal articles with, and try as much as possible to live in isolation from that person until the person recovers from any of these skin diseases. I can assure you that if only you practice these simple ways of personal hygiene, diseases and skin diseases, to be specific, will never be part of you. Try your hands on the exercises I've provided. Until we meet again, I will still say, stay safe. COVID-19 is real. Thank you.